All right, everybody, we are on post. Got my scouting pass. I've got this area reserved for tomorrow. So we'll be checking in and getting after some of these whitetail here on post. I'm about 2 miles, well, just under 2 miles back here. And I had this picked out. I found it last year. And there is a big open meadow up here on top of this little mountain. And then it comes down to this little draw in this dry creek bed and then opens back up on the other. So it's a natural funnel through here. And I thought, man, what a perfect place to catch them coming through that pinch point. But I got my climber with me, and that's the way I want to hunt back here. And unfortunately, I am not finding any good straight trees to put a climber in. So a little cedar thicket here in between these two meadows. And I mean, it's a perfect spot. I just got to find the perfect tree. So I'm going to keep searching, and we're going to get everything set up. I got a lot of stuff with me to get things primed for this spot. So guys, continue to hang in there, and I'll walk you through everything we're going to do here on public land to be successful this season. Stay tuned. Well, this isn't working out like I thought it was going to. I cannot find a single tree that will allow me to set up and hunt this the way I want, because there's a good funnel right here where it opens up. There's a good trail running around this edge that's beat down, but I can't find a single tree that will allow me to get this climber up in it. And I mean, there's one right back here that'll probably let me get about 12 foot off the ground, maybe 15. But the thing about hunting on post, you can't cut any tree branches, or you can't cut anything. So there's no way for me to cut any shooting lanes out of that back into this area. So I guess I'm gonna have to push back into the woods where it's not as thick, and try to get on a heavy trail that way, and hopefully I can find me a tree to get in. So plan A, no go. We're gonna move on to plan B. Bad thing is, I came all the way back here without a plan B. So now we're gonna do it on the fly. Guys, keep hanging in there. All right, so I hiked a couple hundred yards through these woods behind me from that dry creek bed where I was wanting to set up on that pinch point. Came straight across. Now I ran into this, what looks like an old logging road, and it's got good sign on it. And I think that tree up there would be good, but I'd rather get down this way a little bit further. But it's a hike back here. I mean, I'm probably 2.5 miles in. But I think this is, I mean, it's thick back over here. Really good bedding, good cover, open logging road cutting through these trees that they're using heavily. And a couple of good trees, good straight trees that I can get set up in. So I think this is where I'm gonna get set up. So now I have to hike 200 yards back that way and get my climbing stand that I left in the creek bed. So the stuff we do for this passion, this addiction. Deer 30. Let's get after it. All right, so there's tons of sign all over this road, through this clearing. Some old rubs. So we're in a really good spot. But when you're on public land and hunting, it's not just about finding the right spot, especially if you're gonna go in and do a setup and then come back to it. I mean, if you're just doing a hanging hunt and you're just trekking through the woods, find a great spot, throw it up there, you're gonna take everything with you, that's fine. But doing like I'm doing, I'm coming in, I wanna get my stuff set up and then leave and then come back in. So what do I have to think about? Access, right? So if I come trampling all the way down through that creek bottom and trying to get all the way over here, I'm gonna leave all kinds of ground scent. 2, I'm gonna bump in anything that's, you know, bedded in and around these areas through these cedar thickets. So this old logging road that's got tons of sign on it is gonna kick me right back out a couple hundred yards, well, probably about 400 or 500 yards back straight to that road that I came in on. So something like this is gonna give me, it's got a ton of sign, and it gives me good access on the right wind. So guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get set up. I've got 2 trees picked out. This one's a little thin. It's a little thin guy, but I can get up there and I'm gonna have all of that cover, versus this tree here, I'm gonna be hanging out and stuck out like a sore thumb. So with all that being said, I can get in this tree. It's a little thinner than I like, and it's got a really big squirrel nest in it. But I can get up there, easy access, and I'm gonna have a ton of concealment once I get up there with the trees and everything and the brush that's coming off that little tree next to it and kind of surrounding it. I don't have to cut anything, but I can work my way past that and sit in between it and have some good cover from natural cover from the tree that's right next to this here, and not out here right off this road sticking out like a sore thumb. So I think I found my tree. I'm gonna get everything set up, and then gonna get a drip, a mock scrape started, because again, on post, you cannot feed, cannot bring any type of supplement or anything like that at all. So I can't cut any trees to make shooting lanes, can't bring any attractants, or well, not attractants, but I can't bring any feed out here and attract the deer with any type of food source, but I can use scents. So I've got the mock scrape with me from Tinks. We're gonna get that set out. And I'll keep that within, 25, 30 yards of this tree and let it run. And hopefully these deer are gonna do what it looks like they're doing every day, is just burning up and down this trail right here. So guys, gonna get after it. I think we have a good plan. Stay tuned. All set up, and I'm telling you right now, this stand is so comfortable. I can literally just kick back here and take a nap. And considering I've walked close to 4 miles already, it's not sounding like a bad idea. Got a little breeze going. I'm nice and soaked from sweating my butt off, but we got it all set up. And as you can see behind me, this is that tree I was talking about. So this little smaller tree that's next to the tree I'm in, it starts the canopy starts coming up right at about 18 foot. So able to come up here and basically conceal myself with the foliage off of this tree next to me. And anything coming down this logging road, and again, heavy sign, tons of tracks. So they're definitely using this as the corridor between bedding areas. But as that deer is coming down, I'm gonna do a mock scrape at 18 yards from where I'm sitting over here in this little tree, so I can stay seated as they pass by, because I'm only about 5 yards from where they're gonna cross. So as long as I stay still, they'll get past me, get to that mock scrape, and as they go behind this tree that's in front of me here, I can get up full draw and at 18 yards be in the game. So really excited with this setup. Took me a long time to find it, but we're gonna climb down, and I'm gonna put that mock scrape in from Tinks, get that going, and we're gonna hike out of here, get this thing locked in. I got a cable lock just in case anybody does happen to venture back this far and find this thing. They're gonna have to really want it. They're gonna have to cut this tree down. So get everything locked in, and we'll be back in here tomorrow afternoon. So. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how nice this breeze is right now. Got a little breeze hitting me right in the face. And guys, I am soaked. It is 1:40, well, almost 1:50 now. Finally got all the way back here, got set up. It's 1.7 miles from my truck, 91 degrees. Got a pretty steady wind hitting me in my face going back over this hill. So I like that. I've got a scent stick, a little burning stick from Tinks all season, to just kind of swirl in here, because down there it's swirling because I can smell it every now and then and I can't. But just as a cover scent, because I mean, I'm phased out completely. Did all levels. My clothes are washed in phase. I washed in phase. I'm getting ready to douse myself in field foam and just try to cover up all this sweat. But guys, I don't know. Might be absolutely out of my mind. Snakes, bugs, mosquitoes, and we're 18 foot in a tree, a mile, 1.7 miles back, in a 91 degree heat that feels like it's 191 degrees after carrying all this in. But I'm supposed to start getting some rain, about 50% chance of rain starting around 6 to 7 on through the night. So I'm hoping I'm in here early enough and that these deer will get up. I hear acorns dropping all around me. Every time that wind blows, just a little bit, acorns are dropping. So I'm right in the middle of an acorn flat. I got my mock scrape down here. Like I said, I got the tank stick, scent stick burning, kind of mask my odor. I'm phased out. I mean, I've done everything I can do to be successful. Now we just need one to show up. So hope you continue to hang in there, and I haven't bored you so far, but guys, we are hunting 2020 season. My season is just officially kicked off, and I hope I have a little luck tonight, so stay tuned. I'm in this little tree stand and don't have no room to do anything. I cannot tell you how refreshing that is. Guys, get over to Illusion Systems and check this stuff out. I can't wait to prove it to you tonight. I'm soaking wet, and I hope a deer comes walking right by downwind so you see just how effective this stuff is. But now, I'm going to sign off. No more talking. I'm going dark. Stay tuned. Alright, so as you can tell, we didn't have any luck last night. Sat there for another 2 hours through the rain. Right before it started raining, I had a doe come out. Probably about 75 yards off out of that cedar thicket, but she was only out there for about 10 seconds and worked her way right back in. So I didn't even have enough time to get the camera on her. So sat there for another 2 hours, didn't see anything, and then hiked out of there 1.7 miles in the rain. I was completely soaked, completely exhausted. But either way, we're back at it today. It is Sunday, let's see, September 13th. It is 77 degrees, right at 1:30. That storm system's moved out now. Quit raining here about an hour ago. Rained all night, so really hoping that these deer are gonna get up on their feet. I'm about 75 yards off from that corn pile, but there's no corn in the corn pile. It is gone. I'm 30 yards off from this mineral site, and they are still hitting that. I got the tanks smoking stick going, and since I lit that thing, it's changed 3 different times, so we have a variable wind. Right now it's pumping right back towards where I think those deer are going to come from. So filling this area up with that tanks, it's all season. And just to mask my smell, like I'm soaking wet. It's about a 3/4 mile hike back here. And it's humid, it's hot. It says 77, feels like 97. But we're in here early. I think we've got plenty of time. Let everything calm down. Let some of these scent sticks do their job. And hopefully that'll entice some of these big bucks to come and check it out tonight. Like right now, I feel the wind hit me in the back of my head. A minute ago when I started this video, it was hitting me in the front of my face. So it's completely just shifting wind all the time up here. So my only chance is to get phased out in this phase field foam. And hopefully these tank sticks really do their job. I'm gonna sign off here. We're gonna settle in, and hopefully we'll be in the action here before the end of this episode. I told my wife, I was like, this is crazy. I'm producing a deer hunting video series. It sucks when I don't have deer to put in the deer hunting series. So hopefully tonight we'll at least be able to bring you some action, and who knows, maybe we'll get lucky and put an arrow on one of these big bruisers. We have 3 target list bucks on this property, so anything can happen. Stay tuned. Now that was a fun sit. I'm gonna hike out of here and I'll get back to the truck. We'll recap it. But that's why you go hunting right there. All right, guys, so made it back to the truck just to kind of recap tonight's hunt. I mean, man, what a fun time that was. So, I mean, it kind of epitomizes why we do what we do, you know, get in there, enjoy Mother Nature, and be amongst these animals whenever they're just in their own environment and they have no idea you're there. And that was amazing. So I got in early. So, you know, as we all do, I'm sitting there on Facebook, Instagram, answering messages, answering emails, doing some other things. And over out of the corner of my eye, I saw something move and looked over, and it's that little doe or a little fawn, and she was jumping over a log. Of course, she was with her mom. So they come milled in, and the big doe went right over to where I put that scent stick from Tink's. And so that was pretty cool to see. And then they kind of worked their way out after about 15-20 minutes. And then again, sitting there just kind of going through, I think I was doing an email, and I look over, just happened to look over my left shoulder, and I see antlers. And you know what it's like when you see antlers, especially the first time of the season. I mean, my heart sunk. I'm just like, it starts pumping, getting excited. But I'm like, oh man, the camera arm is on my right side. And so there's no way I was going to get it around my left shoulder. So I take the camera off, I come around, I hit record, I'm finding the deer or the buck, and I look up, and there's a doe and a fawn, a big doe. And I mean, I panned over to her, I'm looking back for the buck, and shoot, as soon as I do that, man, she blows. And we're talking probably maybe 10 yards away, if that. So she busts me out, and she takes off. And I mean, when she blows, everything blows out. And I'm like, oh man, of course that buck takes a couple leaps, and I'm like, all right, where's he at? He never ran off. And so that's kind of the point I want to make. I know how frustrating it can be whenever you get busted, or a doe or any, you know, deer blows at you. You're instantly thinking, well, there goes my whole hunt. It's all over. Might as well climb down. But that's not the case. Look, these doe are like, you know, the little piggy that cried wolf. I mean, they blow at everything. And to be honest with you, most of the time, the other deer don't even pay attention to it. They might go on alert a little bit, look around. If they don't see the threat themselves, I'd say at least 7 out of 10 times, it all just kind of simmers back down, and those deer go back to doing what they were doing anyway. So don't let a deer blowing at you ruin your hunt, because like I said, 7 out of 10 times, probably not 9 out of 10, but 7 out of 10 times, it's going to come back down, especially that early. It was only like 6 something. So just, you know, I filmed that buck for a little while, kind of lost him in that thick stuff down to my left. And then sure enough, he worked himself right up to the top, right up in front of me, 15 yards, milling around, 20 yards he was milling around, come in within 15 yards and beds down right in front of me. Nice little 2-year-old 8-point, just come out of velvet. You could tell he's been out of velvet maybe a day or two. And yeah, like he didn't have a care in the world. And so I get a chance to film him. And the coolest part about that is every time other deer were coming in the area, he would alert me to them. So as he was sitting there, he would perk his head up and look in this direction. I'd look over there, and there was deer. He'd go back to milling around or licking on himself, and he'd perk his head up, look in this direction. Sure enough, there were deer. So he was almost like my own little alert, letting me know where the deer were. Had another couple of deer blow. I parked my four-wheeler in a creek bottom about 150 yards away from my stand. And I guess one of them, they typically never come in on that trail, but I guess one came over there and blew, and it blew with him laying right in front of me, and he never even looked in that direction. So again, it just kind of solidified my point. Don't get upset if a deer blows and you think, oh man, my hunt's over. It absolutely is not over. Hang tight and just keep hunting. He finally gets up, he mills himself, or mills off. No, not mills off. He goes right over to that same spot where I had that Tink scent stick. So that's the second, you know, thing for the night. Is that's field tested and approved right there, because I'm hot, sweating, it's miserable out. So you know, even though I'm phased out, you know that I'm leaving, you know, odor, human traces of odor out there. And all they cared about was that scent stick, because both that doe and that little buck both went to where I had that scent stick, the first one. And then so I put another one, I got down about 2.5 hours into it and put another one, not the base of the stand, but a little bit further. And where'd that buck come to? Right to the base of the stand, right where I had that second one. So really excited to see how well that worked. But he worked off, and then everything to my left, it is so thick down in there. All I can see is movement in between, like the holes in the canopy of the trees and stuff like that. So tons of deer were down there. And then something right before sunset was thrashing a tree behind me, and I'm assuming that was probably one of my target bucks, you know, getting his velvet off. But I mean, he was making all kinds of ruckus back there. But all in all, just had a phenomenal hunt, and really a great way. Just my second hunt of the, or second sit of the season. So really excited about where this season's going, and we're going to get right back after it next week. I know the guys are jumping into a bunch of action for themselves, and hopefully going to be getting me that footage really soon. So guys, I appreciate you hanging in. I know it was a little bit longer than normal here, 2 days of hunting plus a day of scouting and setting up, but I appreciate you hanging in with us. And until next time, wake up and hunt.